Good day to you one and all. It is I, Justin Hawkins, and this is Justin Hawkins Rides Again. My eyes look a little bit tired because I've only just woken up, but when I did wake up, I was startled and shocked and delighted to see on my Instagram feed, which I always peruse as a matter of course of a morning, that Blur are doing stuff. I mean, no one told me. And then suddenly there's Steve Lamacq weeping at his, broadcast desk, standing there just all emotional because Blur is doing stuff and he'd missed them so much. I've missed them as well. I'm going to talk about Blur today and react to their new song, The Narcissist, which came out on the 18th of May. It's, what an exciting time. And, before I go into anything else, does this mean they're going to start stoking up the fires of that age-old ancient rivalry between Blur and Oasis? I do hope so, because we need that stuff, don't we? I've often talked about that, and I'll do so again today. But yeah, Blur's back. Hooray. Justin Hawkins rides again. Oh yes, again. It's going to be pretty difficult to not, refer to that Blur versus Oasis rivalry. That was the whole thing about the 90s. It was awesome. In the 80s, you had what was it? It was Bros, who was sort of like the shiny pop ones, and then Wet Wet Wet, who are a bit edgier, a bit more, Glaswegian, a bit more. I don't know. I think the Rebels. I mean, but then again, you had Marty Pellow with his beautiful voice. We're not talking about those. Here we go. So anyway, Blur have announced details of a surprise new album, The Ballad of Darren, and shared the first single, The Narcissist. This is their first album in 8 years. Speaking about the making of the record, the band said that it found them taking a stock of their relationship. Thank God for that. See, that's the other thing about Blur. Now, Oasis was always about the brothers, obviously. They had that sort of dynamic in there. And then it seemed like the other characters were definitely in the periphery of it as a creative entity, and also just in terms of what you're interested in hearing about. And they did interchange slightly. They changed drummers and, there were other guitarists that popped in and out. But I think Blur has always been those four guys, and they're a bit more like sort of, I don't know. I mean, it's when you think about what they did in the hiatus. I mean, one of them made some cheese in a farm. One of them did the gorillas. I mean, come on, what a side project that is. And one of them, disappeared from the face of the earth. And one of them did a lot of really interesting sort of folk guitar-based stuff. I mean, Graham Coxon is a really inventive guitar player who approaches that instrument in a unique way. There's something beautiful about Blur, and I'm so excited about this. And frontman Damon Albarn described The Ballad of Darren as an aftershock record loaded with reflection and comment on where we find ourselves now, while guitarist Graham Coxon, one of my favourite guitar players, said that the older and madder we get, it becomes more essential that what we play is loaded with the right emotion and intention. Sometimes just a riff doesn't do the job. And I always felt he had a completely angular approach to what we consider to be the riff. This morning I was familiarising myself with the Blur catalogue. Listen to what he's doing on Girls and Boys. I mean, that would be a disco record if it wasn't for what Graham Coxon's doing, and it's just awesome. Bassist Alex James, meanwhile, the one that makes cheese, I think, I'm not sure actually, meanwhile said that for any long-term relationship to last with any meaning, you have to be able to surprise each other somehow, and somehow we all continue to do that. And drummer Dave Rowntree commented on how the band found that it always feels very natural to make music together. That's a good sign, isn't it? With every record we do, the process reveals something new and we develop as a band. We don't take that for granted, he added. Okay, so Blur are an English rock band formed in London in 1988. The band helped to popularise the Britpop genre. Oh, I forgot about Britpop. Oh, God. Sometimes I remember what I want to remember, but Blur is obviously the best of that world, and achieved mass popularity in the UK, aided by a chart battle with rival band Oasis in 1995, dubbed the Battle of Britpop. Okay, well, is it obvious? I think I'm really excited about this. That's why I'm wearing this indie rock t-shirt. It says Joy Division on it, so that means I'm into indie rock. Indie rock. Let's do this. What the f*** is this? Valet Vallis. Oh, it's telling me to go on holiday, I think. I do work a little bit too hard sometimes, burning the candle at both ends in the name of entertaining you guys. Oh, no. Oh. Let's find that first note and see if we can, in some way, preempt the unpredictable work of Gray and Coxon.
Looked in the mirror, so many people standing there.
So he's doing this. So this guitar needs tuning. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't even bother to tune it. I was so excited to get stuck into some Blur. I forgot to tune my guitar, didn't I? Anyway, so he's doing something like that, which I would suggest means it's an E, which goes to E major 7. Yeah, that's probably what it is, because the root descends by a mere semitone, and all hell breaks loose in terms of, harmonic information. Becomes like a chord that has sort of 4 elements to it instead of the usual sort of triad, which would be like. Now it's has that too, and these 2 notes are only a semitone apart. So how do they sound so beautiful? I think it's because the higher one is nearly an octave away from the first one, so it doesn't clash in that sort of weird dissonant way, which would create a lot of beating in your ear. It just sounds super bright. I think if you were recording like a backing vocal pad with that, you'd sing those 2 notes and you'd probably try and keep them apart if you wanted to achieve that lush spread of sound. But if you have them together, it does something really interesting too, but in a slightly more emotionally unsettling way. Oh yeah, did I mention that I really love Blur? Yeah, I probably did, didn't I?
I heard no echo. There was distortion.
So is that a little bit of irony there? He goes, I heard no echo, as if to echo the sentiments of the original vocal. It's right on the nose. The kind of sort of vaudevillian approach to backing vocal arrangements that we used to see in sort of Queen records, I suppose. I mean, it's not really sounding like Brit pop at the moment. It's definitely something a bit more timeless about this. Is that what happens when you get older? You sort of transcend genre, or even the genre that you've helped to define? Is that how this works? Sometimes the app's a bit buggy that I use here for tuning. Gets a little bit, how can I put this? Gets a little bit like I want to throw my fucking phone out the window. Do you know what I mean? Especially when I got a job to do like this. Okay, let's try that.
I felt my ego. I felt rebuttal standing there.
You don't hear the word rebuttal very often in a rock pop lyric, do you? Because what does it rhyme with? I mean, rebuttal. Space shuttle? Yeah.
You were the hero. I was the dark room.
I love that. So they always do that thing. They don't always do that thing, but on song 2, when they have that sort of squished up overhead kind of drum mic thing that opens up into the full kit when it really wants to hit you in the face. And they've done something similar here, but it doesn't get as big, dynamically in this section when the drums come in proper. But it's a similar lift, really, perhaps just not as extreme. There it is.
I'm the shining light in your eye.
So that goes from an E, of passing through that. The root goes down to the semitone beneath the E, the E flat, I suppose, which is changing the whole feel of that major 7th, and then it goes to C sharp minor, which is the relative minor of E. That's really as trad as it gets.
But I won't fall this time. With Godspeed, I'll heed the sign.
Yes, I think when Graham Coxon is hitting that note, he's hitting an A, but it's hitting like this kind of inversion of it. It's one of my favourite ones to do. As you used to hear a lot of it in sort of indie rock. because what it does, it doesn't give you the information as to whether it's a minor or a major. So you just get this. That could be either, you know, and it really depends on what the singer's doing or what the other instrumentation is doing to give you that, you know, maybe the bass is going to wander off to here to make it a minor, for example, or here to make it a major. But I really love those chords because it relies on the other elements of the accompaniment to tell you what key it really is in, and it just jangles in a fun kind of late 60s way, really.
Horses, my heart it quicker. I could not tear myself.
This is really, really inspiring.
If you see darkness, look away.
Darkness!
You probably shine it back on me.
It's really simple stuff, isn't it?
But I won't fall this time. Godspeed.
I love that. I love that jangling stuff. It's so good. There's a lot of stuff going on in this soundscape, and they've just seems as though they've never been away, really, doesn't it? Everything's so beautifully integrated with one another. It's just like, wow, this is a tight band that knows exactly what the objectives are. Nobody's walking over each other. Nobody's trying too hard. And having been away for that long, you'd expect sort of Graham Coxon to want to do some fiddly stuff. He's not. He's just keeping it really simple. And there's almost like an orchestral arrangement going on there with some cool sort of descending backing vocal stuff. And
you probably shine it back on me.
On me, shine it back on me. It sounds like his voice is kind of I don't know how to put this, it's matured in an interesting way. It sounds a little bit more broken than it used to.
But I won't fall this time.
I love it when singers get to this sort of broken period. I'm looking forward to my own.
With Godspeed, I heed the signs.
And he's operating in a lower register than I'm used to hearing him sing. And then went straight back to the E major 7th, which is what I was hoping they'd finish on. It's so cool. Alright, well, when I realised that I'd be doing a Blur thing, I listened back to a few of their things from the catalogue that I always used to love and still love it. This sits in real nice with all that good gear from their earlier career. That rhymes, actually. Good gear from the earlier career. And it's just really, really, really exciting. So I think all we got to say now is beat that, Oasis. Come on, get together and have a little go at bettering this attempt by Blur, which is awesome. The Narcissist. Have a listen to it, guys. Links in the description, I would imagine. Cool. It's a great day. That's really made my Sunday. Nice one. Cheers, Blur. Nice one. Justin Hawkins rides again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Watch one of these two videos. And for the guitarists among you, do a bar chord that starts on the A string. Don't play the one that would tell you if it's major or minor on the 5th string. Just bar across there. So it's like, for example, an E would be on the 2nd string 7, 9, 9, 7, 7, and then move it around. And that is how you do indie rock. Again. Like, subscribe, bell for notifications. One of these two videos. Usual stuff. Have a great Sunday. Cheers, guys.
Again.